Okay, we like to set ourselves up to expectations that we will not meet because we like to fail over here. Hi, Paulton watchers! If you don't like that, too bad. I don't know what to call you guys, but I'm gonna stick with it for now. Feel free to protest in the comments, but you won't. So for now, you are Paulton watchers, because if you are here, you are a watcher of Paulton and I. Him and I are one and the same. And do not ask me to explain who he is. For those who know, no, they get it, okay? And for those who don't, well, you clearly aren't a real one, because Anyway, another day, another dollar, and another slow month, okay? April was a very average month. It was my birth month, but when it came to reading, it was very average. Now, I didn't have any DNFs, which was good, but everything was a 3-star. So, and again, 3 stars are good. I consider 3 stars good, but to only have a month of 3 stars, no 4 stars, no 5 stars, it was kind of a fucking slog, okay? It was slow as fuck, okay? But you know what? As the title says, I'm also going to be talking about my May TBR as well, briefly. I probably won't go into detail about the books, like what they're about, because I don't feel like it. And also, you can read if if you want to know, you can search it yourself. So, anyway, with that, I hope you don't see my laptop. With that being said, okay, let's start with the first book I read this month, which I believe was To Bleed a Crystal Bloom by who? By Sara A. Parker. Okay, so you know what? I was like, I want to get in my fantasy era. I was a little, it sounded interesting. Like, the concept of this book sounded interesting. It is a Rapunzel retelling, but not really, kind of. Like this, I already don't remember their names, but the FMC, from the time that she is a baby, she is taken away and she lives in this castle or whatever, or tower, whatever. She lives in this place that the MMC is in charge of, and she stays there. And also, he drinks her blood. Like, every day of her life, he drinks her blood. So I'm pretty sure he's a vampire. It was never like explicitly said in the book, but I mean, I'm pretty sure he is. Now, here's the thing. I gave this book a 3-star. I was enjoying it, but up until the end, I think like that 80% mark was when I started to get a little bored and I was just a little tempted to DNF, but I didn't, because you know what? At that point, I was already 80% in, so why DNF? But I don't know. Here's the thing though. I was interested, I was invested, but at the same time, I lost interest. It lost me. It had me, then it fucking lost me. So it was never meant to be. Clearly, because I don't know. It just, I don't know. And here's the thing though. I had to keep reminding myself that since this is the first book, it is a trilogy. I don't remember what the other 2 books are called, and I don't particularly care at this moment, but there's other 2 books. Anyway, the first book, right? I had to keep reminding myself that sometimes in fantasy reads, or just like in fantasy in general, like the first movie or the first season or like the first book, sometimes it's not always the best, right? Because the first is always a lot of world building. And so I knew that most likely the second one and the third one were probably going to be better, because they would probably be more interesting and everything's happening faster. This book was very slow, and the FMC and the MMC weren't even together in this book. I think they only kissed once, and then that was it, which is okay, because here's the thing. I knew that this was the slowest of slow burns going into this book. I saw the reviews, I knew that, but I also knew that with slow burns, at least when it's in a fantasy, I don't particularly mind, because I have other things in the story to keep me interested if the couple are not together. So I knew that going in, so that doesn't really bother me, but I just think overall it was slow. And so I don't know if I will continue with the story. Maybe I will. I don't know. It's not like a definite no. Like, because I know I could very well like the second and third one more. So, I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, Tuxedo Crystal Bloom, 3 stars. Next, I was looking for a thrill in my life. I was like, ooh, let's enter my thriller era. Okay, no, I did not want to enter my thriller era, but I did want to read a thriller, a romantic thriller specifically, okay? And look, The Fabric of Our Souls, it's good. I like it. Again, another 3 stars, but it didn't give, okay? It did not give the thrill. I got no thrill. It had the romance aspect, but at least in my opinion, I feel like the thriller aspect and the suspense was lacking. Like, it had moments, but it wasn't a balance, okay? Like, that, and that's just my opinion. I feel like the romance was like more here and the thriller was like more here. And if I'm reading a book that is a romantic thriller, then I expect both to be about even, okay? So it just, it just didn't give. It just didn't do it for me, okay? But I did enjoy it. It was a 3 star. And yeah, and I guess to give a little context, because I guess some of you might want that. So, I mean, good for you. Okay, I don't know. Anyway, so, who are these people? Yes, right? The MMC, the FMC, they are both in this rehab center, I think. I could be miswording it, so don't at me on that, okay? They're both at this rehab center, I believe, and also it's heavy on the mental health representation, which is great, but also keep with that in mind, look up your trigger warnings, because there were some heavy things that were brought up throughout the story between both of the main characters, because both of them struggle with their mental health. And so please keep that in mind. If this, if this is a book that sounds interesting to you, just look up your trigger warnings. But, I guess that's enough context. I'm done. I'm moving on. Anyway, like I said, 3 stars. Now this one, I couldn't fucking tell you. Wait, you know what? What was on the April TBR? I don't remember. Hold on. No. Okay, listen. I believe I had a lot on my April TBR and I probably did not get to all of it, but that's neither here nor there, okay? We like to set ourselves up to expectations that we will not meet because we like to fail over here. It's nice to have goals because sometimes goals keep us going, It's nice to have a hobby and it's nice to fail. Me, the college student, saying that. It's nice to fail in this regard, okay? Okay, anyway, next I read Dear Rosie by S.J. Tilley. Now, I couldn't even tell you, I was very surprised that I read this book and that I finished it and that I walked away from it by giving it a 3 star. Let me tell you, I will never ever read this book again because, in my ever so humble opinion, nothing happened in this book. Nothing important. I mean, okay, maybe there was something with her dad or whatever at the very end, which, like, okay, whatever. But that was at the very end, and I also kind of feel like that kind of got, like, resolved or, like, brushed over pretty quickly. But I really couldn't tell you why I enjoyed it, because it's just, nothing important happened. Like, that book makes me think of a filler. Like a filler book or a palate cleanser. I cannot emphasize to you guys enough that nothing important happened in this book, which is why I'm even surprised that I even was interested all throughout and that I read it and I gave it a 3 stars, because maybe if that book had caught me on a different day, I would have gotten bored and DNF'd at like 10%. Who knows, okay? Because, like, I cannot. Do you fucking get me? I said nothing important happened, okay? I mean, it was insta love, which I know not everybody loves, which is okay. It was insta love. It was childhood best friends to lovers to strangers. Plus size romance. The FMC is curvy, which I love, and that's actually why I read the book, because I was in the mood to read a curvy FMC book, because it's been a while since I've done that. But you know, listen, take anything away from what I just said, like for the 50th time, nothing important happened, but it was a 3-star. Will I ever read it again? No. Why? One of my anticipated reads of this year came out on my birthday, and I read it, The Prodigal Son by Sara, Cate. Okay, now, 3 stars, by the way. It was really good. I loved it. And you know what? Like, if I had a preacher in my neighborhood that gave huge daddy DILF energy, oh my god. If I did, hell, I would probably be religious too. You know, I would probably be going back to church. I mean... Oh, yes, I did go there. Anyway, so this is an age gap romance. You know, one of the MMCs, if you couldn't tell, is a preacher, and he's the older one. And the other MMC is a rock star, a country rock star player. And this, it kind of is, you know, like, I don't know, I wouldn't want, okay, it's not a slow burn, but at the same time, well, maybe it kind of is insta love, but at the same time, I guess that's subjective. That's up to you guys. I don't hate that trope, but I also don't love it. I do think it's kind of weird, but anyway, that's up to you if you read this. But they did kind of get together pretty early on in the story. It also has like the forbidden aspect of it as well, because one of the guys, Jensen, is a preacher, and he's in the closet, and the other MMC, who's the country rock star, he is also in the closet. Why am I blanking on his name? I know his name. Yes, the other MMC who's a country rock star, his name is Isaac. So yes, like I said, it has that forbidden aspect. There is homophobia. There is conversion therapy is brought up because one of the MMCs went through that when they were younger. So there are some things that were, you know, heavy. So check your trigger warnings. But I did enjoy this. Honestly, it probably was my favorite. So again, 3 stars, but this month was a slog. I am ready to get more into a fast-paced reading. And you know what? I still want to enter my fantasy era. So with that being said, the May TBR, okay? The May TBR. Now, like I said, I very well might continue to bleed a Crystal Bloom trilogy. I know that's not the title, but whatever. I might read the second book. I might read the second and third book this month. I don't know if I will, but we'll see. But yeah, anyway. Now this was on the TBR, Loving the Reaper for May, but I am actually currently reading it, so I guess that doesn't count. But this is on my TBR. Well, it was. Anyway, whatever. But that is not fantasy. Hold on. Okay, then I have Enigma by Runyx. Honestly, I have no idea if I actually am gonna get to this book this month. I would be sure as hell surprised if I did. To be honest, I don't think I will, but we'll see. Until I read this book, it's just going to be on the TBR for each month. So if I don't read it in May, it's going to be on the TBR for June. If not in June, then July. So expect this book to be brought up every month until I actually read it, because it was in my April TBR, I believe, and I didn't read it, but also I kind of knew that was like a fool's errand. I do not think I worded that correctly. I don't think I used that term correctly. But either way, expect to see this book multiple times. Also, I do plan to read Beautiful Venom by Rina. It's coming out May 27th, I believe. I want to read this because I do enjoy Rina Kent's work, but also I want to hop in on that bandwagon because everybody will be talking about it when it comes out. So I want to read it around the same time as well because I am nothing but a follower. And for my knowledge, all I really know is that it's a dark romance, of course, but it's also a sports romance, and I think it's hockey. So, and that sounds really intriguing to me because, first of all, this is new for Rina Kent. Like, she's never done a sports romance, and some of her works are, I guess, kind of like a recycle of works in a way. Not that I know what I'm getting when I'm reading her books. I enjoy it, but this is something new, so it would be interesting to see how she goes about that. And yeah, I'm curious. So anyway, now to actually get onto the fantasy. Anathema by Anathema, wherever I put the book on this, whatever. Anathema by Keri Lake. Now, I might read it. I don't know. I believe it's supposed to be a duet. The second book, I don't know when it's supposed to come out. It's a dark gothic romance, I believe. And it sounds interesting. Now, here's the thing though. There's a part of me that wants to read it now, but there's also a part of me that'd be like, oh no, let's wait and read it in like spooky season. But I am such a mood reader. Guarantee if I don't read it this month, and then by the time spooky season is upon us, I'll be like, yeah, right, no, I don't want to read it. And so I feel like the aesthetic, the vibes fit better for like October, but I know the chances of me reading it during spooky season, I mean, pigs will sooner fly, okay? Because it's terrible. I'm such a mood reader. On that note, to get into more fantasy, Quicksilver by Callie Hart. I also think, didn't Netflix pick this up? I think it did. I don't really know much about this book. I do know it was very popular on TikTok when it first came out, I believe. It is another romantasy. All of these books are romantasies because I gotta have my romance, okay? I gotta have it. But anyway, yes, this is on the TBR. Actually, as soon as I finish Loving the Reaper, then I'm gonna enter my fantasy era with Quicksilver. And on that note, oh no! What the fuck? Okay, well, anyway, the Book of Azrael. I am very excited to read this. This is, what's this called? Gods and Monsters? Yes. Gods and Monsters series. I think this is supposed to be a 7th book series, and there's only 3 books out right now. I do think the 4th one's supposed to come out later this year. But anyway, I don't know where my second copy is. Like, I have the first one, I have the third one. The second one's over there somewhere, I guess. I guess I could probably try to go get it, but no. Well, let me see, where is it? Okay, now, so I did get it. Here's the second book, which is The Throne of Broken Gods. Yes, this is. Okay, so I want to read this. I don't know, you know, people on TikTok are loving it. I've heard it's really good. I think it's an enemies to lovers. It's a dark romance, but also fantasy. And you know, listen, I basically am a dark romance whore, okay? Like, I think you all know that well enough by now, okay? Like, yes, I love my contemporary fluffy romances. Oh, they have a special place in my heart. Oh, yes, they do. But like, at my core, dark romance is where it's at, okay? So I definitely want to read this month. And also, by the way, I have come to the conclusion when I was reading To Bleed a Crystal Bloom that I like reading fantasies better when I'm immersive reading. So for those of you who don't know what that is, that's reading the book yourself, but at the same time you're also listening to an audiobook. And I've come to the conclusion that I like reading fantasy books better that way because I think it just helps me put myself into the world better. And also, like, I don't want to like spend like a week or a week and a half on a fantasy book. Like, no, like I want to get through them faster than that. And also, like, I guess in a way it also kind of helps me comprehend things better. And I think that's one of the reasons why that To Bleed a Crystal Bloom is a 3-star. Like, if I had listened to the audiobook at the same time while reading, it probably could have been a 4-star. So with that being said, my May reading month is probably going to be a little faster because I will have my audiobooks. But as I said in previous video, I don't know. Oh, the January one. As I've said, I still am a slow reader. It's just, we're going to be a little faster. We're going to pick it up this month, okay? So, yeah. And if you got something to say about that, well, you mind your business, okay? You don't run shit over here. Anyway, that's it. Yeah, that's it for the video. I hope you enjoyed. And thank you for being here. And Paulton, I love you. Bye!